What's going on YouTube? So of course in the past we've shown you guys several different versions of the Kia K5. However, today it's time to sample the ultimate K5. This is the K5 GT. Not only is this the most powerful K5 on the market, but for 2022, Kia has actually made several updates to this trim level to make it even more appealing. So without wasting any time, let's go ahead and jump right into the review and see if this is the best midsize sedan for you. So when you first walk up to this K5 GT, it really makes a strong first impression. This is a really dang good looking midsize sedan, that's for sure. And of course you're gonna find all those typical K5 elements, but just kind of amped up a little bit for GT duty. So up in the front, you've got the slightly narrower version of the Tiger Nose grille, which has this kind of matte gray finish that goes across it. And the bigger difference though is gonna be the lower fascia. This has just been reshaped versus some of your other trim levels of the K5 to look a bit more aggressive. And mostly this is shared with the GT line model as well. Of course, new for 2022, you have the updated Kia emblem in the front as well. Now as we come over here to the headlights, there's going to be two different versions of the headlights you can get with the GT model. So it's going to come standard with the LED reflector headlights. However, with the GT1 package, that's going to throw in these right here. So this is a LED projector headlight, and of course you have that signature daytime running light and turn signal that wraps around just like that. Looks really cool. Down below you will also find LED fog lamps. But one of the features that stands out the most with the GT model versus the other trim levels are these wheels. So for the ultimate K5, you have the largest wheel option. This is a 19-inch contrast alloy wheel. These look absolutely phenomenal. I love the design and how they kind of trace this contrast element right through the gloss black. Looks great. As far as the tire on this, we do have more of a performance tire. So this is a Pirelli P0 all season. And then the brakes have also been enhanced as well. And you'll notice that they do have a gray finish on them as well as GT branding. Now as we move up to the mirror, we do have a gloss black finish on top of it. It's got all the standard features that the other models have. So you have heating and blind spot monitoring, but new for 2022 is the fact that these now power fold. That was something that wasn't offered last year.
All right, so here at the side of the K5 GT, you're probably noticing the design first and foremost. This really does not look like your typical sedan. It really has a lot of sportback influences from that bigger brother Kia Stinger model. Now as far as the actual length is concerned, we're looking at 193.1 inches, which is of course pretty average for the midsize sedan segment. And then coming back around, you will of course see that sportback influence I was talking about. We have this piece of chrome that goes all the way seamlessly through the entire rear design. And I do want to point out, check this out, this is one of the really cool elements I love about this K5, is that you have this piece blacked out, which just makes the window look like it goes back a little bit further than it actually does. It's a really cool design element. Now up top we do have a spoiler for the GT or GT line models, so that's going to be a really nice touch, nice black spoiler contrast with this wolf gray paint. In here in the middle we have our Kia branding, and then you're going to notice these taillights right here. These are the premium version of the K5 taillights. So these are the dash design. They're included on every single GT model, and they're mostly LED, as you will see. All of the dash elements are LED. The brake light itself is LED. However, you have an incandescent amber turn signal as well as an incandescent reverse light. We have our GT branding right here, and then if we drop down to the lower diffuser, this is probably going to be the biggest area you're going to notice about the GT that separates it from the other models, and that's that we have a very aggressive lower diffuser, and we have quad exhaust outlets, which is the only K5 in the entire lineup to have that. Now for the GT K5, you are going to have most of your safety systems as standard equipment. However, it is unfortunately not all of them. So you're going to have forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, auto high beam headlamps, as well as lane keeping assist. However, you will have to go for an option package on this model to get adaptive cruise control with their highway driving assistant. Now, as far as your warranty is concerned, of course, this is a Kia after all, so we're going to have a 5-year, 60,000 mile basic warranty, 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. However, unlike Hyundai, you will not have complimentary maintenance. But guys, that's going to wrap up the exterior design of this K5 GT. As you can tell, we're a really big fan of the way this looks. I love the wolf gray paint, but there is a new interior color option for this GT waiting for you on the inside. So let's go ahead and check that out before we take it out in a spin.
So walking up to the GT, of course, like pretty much every K5, you do have a standard intelligent entry system with remote start built into the key fob. As you walk up to the vehicle, the mirror will go ahead and fold out. And you don't have sensors behind the handle, so you do press the black button to unlock. Go ahead and get inside here. Well, let's go ahead and get started with interior material and color options, because there is quite a bit to talk about with this GT model. So what you're looking at right now is one of the new things I want to point out for 2022. This is a new brown interior option for the GT model. It's only on the GT model. And as you can see, really nice look. It is brown. You do also have the ability to continue to get the black with red accents, but you can't get the full red like you can in the GT line. That's actually not available on the GT. As far as the seats, they are a premium leatherette. We do have GT embroidered in up here. We've got a lot of stitching details, got the color contrast piping, the accenting through the middle in the cloth. Really nice looking seats. Nice bolsters as well. You do have 10 ways of power adjustment with 2-way lumbar support, but you don't have the adjustable bolsters like you do in its sibling, the Hyundai Sonata Inline. Now let's turn over here to the door trim and start looking around at our materials. So you'll notice the same brown leatherette across the armrest portion. You've got a lot of piano black accents that go around the window switches. And then you've got the leatherette that runs across the top. Soft touch along the top as well. And then we have kind of a faux aluminum that goes across the middle part. We do have the 2-person memory seating that's thrown in with the GT1 package that our model has today. And carrying on up the dashboard, above the gauges, this is going to be hard touch. However, all the rest of the upper dashboard is going to be finished in a soft touch material with the stitching. Again, we have more of this faux darkened aluminum trim that runs through here. And then our lower portions, these are going to be hard touch, but everything does fit together very well. Now start up, put your foot on the brake, and press the button that's kind of hidden behind the steering wheel. And when you fire up the vehicle, you're not going to hear a really distinct difference, but of course under the hood is a different engine, and you will feel that when you go out on the road. But as far as the gauge cluster itself, this is basically the same as it is in all the other K5s, so it is an analog setup. You actually cannot get the digital setup like you can on many other Kia products or the sibling inline Sonata. So this is what you're going to have is the 4.2-inch multi-function display right there in the middle. Now as we pull back to the steering wheel, we do have a nice flat bottom design with GT branding and stitching details. Feels good in the hand. Of course, it is going to be manual tilt and telescoping, and you can get heating when you choose the GT1 package like we have today. All right, so let's go ahead and address interior storage. It is a family sedan, even though it is a powerful family sedan. So underneath of our console here, very nicely sized, plenty of space. We do have a felt lining, and we also have a charging USB port in there as well. But nothing's official until we put the coupons in here and test it out. Look at that, we don't even have to fold them in half for them to fit, so that's pretty impressive. Now up in front of that, we do have a wireless phone charging slot. You just slide your phone down in there and it will hold it in place. You got your 2 cup holders, and then the very front you have another nice storage cubby with a couple more USBs and a 12-volt outlet. As we come back to the shifter, the GT does come with the traditional T shifter. You can bump over here to the left if you want to shift manually, and the GT model is the only K5 to come with paddle shifters on the steering wheel. As we head into reverse, this is one of the nice updates for 2022, and that's the fact you now have a 360-degree camera system available. You're gonna have to choose the GT1 package to get it, but it is nice that it is now offered. Really nice, crisp resolution. Of course, you can change the views right through there. Furthermore, both of the mirrors do tilt down when in reverse to help you see the parking lines better. And of course, behind the shifter, you do have your electronic parking brake with your auto brake hold. Now, as we pull behind that, you have a little toggle here for your heated and vented seats. So heated seats are going to be standard on the GT, as you would expect. The vented seats are part of that GT1 package I've been describing. There's a lot of different features inside of that GT1 package. So if you're shopping for this, you might want to pay attention to see if those features are going to be worth the price to you. Right here is your drive mode controller, excuse me. And then as we move on up to our main climate controls, as you can see, nicely finished in piano black. You can adjust the temperature very easily right there, and you have your physical controls for your zones and your fan speeds. And carrying on, let's talk about the audio system next. So you are going to have a standard 6-speaker sound system on the GT, just like you do with the lower trim levels of the K5. However, you do have the ability to get the 12-speaker Bose premium sound system with the GT1 package. We do have that today, so let's take a sample of it. Yeah, so overall sound quality of this system is very excellent. I particularly like how rich the bass is. It really is a nice sounding sound system to use. All right, and let's take a look at the display. So if you watched our main K5 2022 review, you know that Kia basically made the 10.25-inch display standard on a lot more trim levels for 2022. Of course, as you'd expect, the top-end GT is going to have its standard as well. Taking a look around at our features, we do have that typical software design that Yuvo has had for a couple years now. You're going to have the built-in navigation system. You're also going to have standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but since you have the 10.25-inch display, it is going to be the wired variety. Moving on upward, we do have a manual dimming mirror even on this top model. Of course, you're going to have LED lighting. And then up at the very top, you're going to find a large panoramic sunroof. This is included as standard on the GT.
All right, guys, hop on back here in the rear area of the K5 GT. Now, of course, this is still a family midsize sedan, so you're of course going to have the same elements that you would in the regular K5, which is quite a lot of space as well as quite a lot of features as well. So we're looking at 35.2 inches of rear legroom, 37.8 inches of rear headroom, which does place this a little bit below the Camry and Accord. It's actually a little bit ahead of the Sonata though. So as far as the rear legroom, you probably notice that I have I'd say probably 8 to 10 inches between the seat back adjusted to Drew's 5'8" driving position. I'm 5'9" for reference, and I can easily slide my feet up underneath of the seat. Now, as far as the feature set that Kia is throwing in for the K5 GT, here in the middle, we are going to have these nice vents. That's going to be on the higher end model, so that's going to be the EX and GT model. And then down below that, we have 2 charging USB ports. These are just going to be the regular Type A connectivity, but they are the smart charging ports. And then if we fold down the central armrest, you will have 2 cup holders inside. And then turning over to your door trim, you do have pretty nice materials. The upper portion is going to be hard touch. However, the lower areas are also going to be soft touch leatherette, and you do have that nice brown color on the door. No heated rear seats though. Now walking up to the cargo area for the K5 GT, we do have a hands-free smart opening trunk. I don't have it turned on in the settings, but if you stand back here, it will just beep for a few seconds and then open up. Otherwise, you can just push the button to open the cargo area, and you will notice that it is really nicely dampened. It shoots all the way up, basically like a power trunk. Now, as far as the space is concerned for the K5 GT, we're going to have 16 cubic feet of cargo capacity, which does make this one of the largest offerings in the entire segment. That's right on par with that of the Honda Accord, Toyota Camry, Hyundai Sonata. It's just a lot of space, so you certainly will be able to fit all of your junk back here in the cargo department. You can also still fold the seats down 60-40 split. And then as far as other finishings, we'll lift up the cargo floor here, and you do have a spare tire. Now for your high-end K5s, you will actually have a power adjusting passenger seat, which is something that you cannot get on the Hyundai Sonata inline, and we do also have power lumbar support, so that's a really nice touch. Now as far as the glove box here, this is going to be your signature glove box for the K5. That's plenty of space. As you can see, we have our coupons in here. There you go. Slides right in, no problem whatsoever, so you can save money on some food. And then up top, we do have a sun visor, we have a large mirror, we have some lighting integrated right here. And then we can also detach it as well as extend it out. Yep.
These are pretty darn quick.
Yes, they are. That is why you get the GT.
Exactly. So what you have on board is a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, making 290 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. Obviously, that is up a lot from the standard K5 model.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we've mentioned it earlier in the review, but we do own the Hyundai Sonata inline, which is the sibling to this model. It does have the same engine, same chassis. Obviously there's quite a few differences, but as far as performance, you're looking at a very similar type of performance.
Yeah. It definitely is a lot of power. You have the torque figure is really, I think, what you notice even more, because 311 pound-feet is just a lot of torque. And this thing, might as well go ahead and mention it. It is front-wheel drive only, so that is one thing. Even though the K5 can be available in all-wheel drive, this GT model is front drive only. So yes, this will do some burnouts if you fully floor it just to the front wheels, especially if it's like raining.
For sure. But just like with the Sonata, in day-to-day living, the torque steer is actually pretty manageable. They do a good job of taking care of that. And obviously they got to save something for the Stinger, because this is the same engine that the Stinger has. So if you want the all-wheel drive or the rear drive performance, you're gonna have to go for the Stinger. Switch to sport mode here.
You got some wheel spin there.
Just a little bit, yeah. This thing pulls so hard. It really does. It just surprises you, because it looks like a regular K5. This is a midsize sedan. Put the family in here. You can drive around every day. You don't have to go, super fast or anything like that. But then when the time comes, this thing is legit.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really legit about it is just your overall handling and performance. They did not just stick a 2.5 turbo in this and call it a day. They did make a lot of enhancements to the way this drives. So as we kind of go through some corners here, I want you to pay attention to just how flat everything is. Brakes feel nice and strong. So you can just throw it into that corner there.
Yeah.
Everything stays nice and flat. The steering is nice and responsive, as you can see. Really sharp turn in as soon as you turn the steering wheel.
It really is a joy to drive on the day-to-day, as well as just on a back road like this. And then, of course, another element to that overall driving experience that's so good is the transmission. So when you get the GT, instead of the regular 8-speed automatic that you get on the other K5 models, you get upgraded to the 8-speed dual clutch transmission, and it really is a fantastic transmission, especially for the performance. It is one of the quickest transmissions that you can get, especially within the segment. It even has some...
Yeah, you guys see that? The flip?
Like, yeah.
It actually downshift rev matches when you start to decelerate in the sport mode. Yeah, so like I said, mechanically being shared with the inline, that's an everyday driver for us. So, we can kind of speak on the long term with this powertrain. It really does have that great combination of everyday livability, but it's just a lot of fun out on a back road when you're ready to have fun. I'm going to toggle back to normal mode though, because this is a midsize sedan after all. You want to haul your family around, and we'll talk about some of the more ordinary elements of owning this vehicle.
Yeah. So the thing about the K5 GT is that it really is a dual character car. What changes for the GT really just enhances its sport driving experience. However, it really doesn't hurt the regular everyday livability of a K5. So, of course, you've probably seen our other K5 reviews. This is one of the best riding vehicles in the entire segment. The 19-inch wheels don't change much when it comes to the ride quality, so you're looking at a very solid ride quality. It's also very quiet in here, so we'll go ahead and get a sound level reading right after we get over this bridge here. We're looking at 57.9 decibels, which is a very solid reading for any midsize sedan. So, like I was mentioning, this is one of those cars you can have your entire family with you. You can be completely comfortable with that. And then also, maybe on a Friday afternoon when you're ready to get back home, take a country road and really enjoy that experience.
I feel like it sounds a little bit quieter in here than in our Sonata. I don't know if it's just an illusion, but it just sounds a little less wind noise, I guess. All right, it's time to get into our slam dunk and airball for the day. I'm going to start off with the airball. That's going to be the gauge cluster. So I know a lot of you guys complain about this. Owning the Sonata really bakes this in though, because that premium digital gauge cluster is so much nicer than this really basic analog setup. And as you may know, in other markets, I believe in Canada as well, they have the digital gauge cluster. So I don't know why it's not available here in the United States, and I think he should fix this.
Yes.
And then one tiny other quibble I just wanted to mention. The brown leather seats, we wonder why they don't offer the red leather seats in the GT, because I feel like that looks a lot better than the brown.
It makes no sense. They offer it on the GT line, which is the less performance oriented, and then not on the GT. Really odd, Kia. I don't know why. Maybe an engineer will comment down below and let me know why, but I don't understand. And as far as the slam dunk, though, there is, of course, a lot to like about this K5 GT. Obviously, we love this car, but the slam dunk, if we have to pinpoint one thing, it's just got to be the performance for the money. This is a really, really high-performing vehicle for the segment. It's a great car to drive on the back road, and really to get that at a, we'll talk about the pricing in just a second, but an under $40,000 price point is pretty exceptional, especially when you compare it to rivals like the Camry V6 and Accord 2.0T. This is really just a great overall package. Well, let's go ahead and talk about that pricing. So for the GT, it's actually going to start at $30,090. So that's something worth noting. You can get a base GT with less equipment. So if you're comparing it to the Sonata Inline, it's only available in one combination. You can get the base model for this to get that powertrain. You're going to have less equipment, or you can also add in what we have on this particular model, the GT1 package, that gets you a ton more equipment. And then as far as this one's price, we're coming in at $37,315 fully loaded up with the GT1 package, as well as a few options, including the wolf gray exterior paint. So that's going to actually be a little bit more than the Sonata Inline.
Right, and like I mentioned when I was talking about the interior, the GT1 package is pretty weighty in terms of what you get. A bunch of features. It is
$4,200.
Above $4,000. So it's definitely something to keep in mind, like Mason was saying. You can get the performance, but then you can add the extra luxury.
Now, I do also want to point out the fuel economy. I did forget to mention that earlier. So we're looking at 27 miles a gallon combined. This is front drive only, so that's going to be your only fuel economy for the GT. So that's pretty good. 2432 is your city and highway rating.
But overall, of course, we are quite impressed by this K5 GT. That's what I was expecting. Like we said, owning the Sonata inline, I think that says how we feel about this powertrain and chassis, because you have that same performance here with the Kia. It's just going to be a matter of personal taste between which one of those two you choose, but no matter what, you're just getting such a strong package of performance, extra luxury features, just a great midsize sedan in general for the whole family. So it's really big thumbs up from us.
Well guys, that wraps up our in-depth review of the 2022 Kia K5 fully loaded Mac Daddy GT. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you paid us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. It's completely free, and it's going to give you access to a ton of automotive content. We have cars on our channel ranging from lower price points to higher price points. Whatever you're interested in the automotive industry, we have it. So hit subscribe. Also follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.